All right, we are back. Hi, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks. We're playing tonight some Call of Cthulhu Beneath the Burning Sun here on Uncanny Adventures. Hopefully, we will be joined by Taru sometime soon. But until then, we have two of our intrepid investigators back to continue this adventure. Last time, they packed up their newly fortified wagon. Their group of mercenary types that came along with Mr. Martin, his vigilante committee group, and the rest of the posse, and headed north out of Shade into the mountains in search of this Spanish fort that is a few days north. Um, they managed to find themselves in a situation where they were ambushed by two of the outlaws who had set themselves up day or so ago, waiting for any sort of group following the outlaw party from the bank robbery into the hills. And they were probably a bit surprised by the numbers that were on their way. So they took positions, hid themselves in the rocks, and fired down on the group. Marshal was injured, but is okay, has been bandaged up. The drivers of the wagon were both injured. One, Mordecai, was injured a little more than Elvin, but both of them took a couple of bullets. And apparently, the practice with his gun, aiming yet not firing until the necessary moment, Jake Parker managed to fire a killing shot on one of the two outlaws and send the other running on horseback back to the north, trying to escape. And that's where we're going to come back into this to see what happens. So we're going to say hi to our players, and we're going to see, what goes on this week. So we'll start this week with Joanna.
Hi, I'm Joanna. You can find me on Twitter at ThriftBirds. I play Sister Michal infrequently because I have chronic migraines.
Hey, those things happen. I had one last week from something. And how about Ray?
How you doing? I'm playing Samuel Smith, our scientist geologist, and that's it.
Excellent. All right. So as we fade back in, you all are in this sort of pass that goes between these two raised rock ledges on either side. Some of the vigilantes had climbed up and had searched both on the side of the outlaw who had been killed, and also had taken some pot shots at the fleeing form of Boston on horseback, and came back down the slope and said that they fired a few shots in his direction. They couldn't tell whether or not they hit him at the distance and what his condition was, though he did seem to be somewhat slumped in his saddle as the horse rode away at a fair clip, heading northward away from you all. Marshal was being patched up and having her arm. A good number of people tried to bandage the arm before Marshal just took the bandages and handled it successfully herself and managed to stop, slow and stop the bleeding and take care of the wound. Baxter and Jake are holed up in the back of this armored wagon, and Mordecai is being sort of carried down from the driver's seat. His wound has been tended to a little bit. It's being looked at. He's in pretty rough shape after the shootout. And Elvin, the other driver, he grazed his shoulder, or they grazed his shoulder with a bullet, but he's mostly fine. Just it looks like he's it's a bit sore. And the rest of you are here, sort of waiting while people are patched up and things. There's some whispers amongst some of George Martin's group about whether or not Mordecai should be taken back to town at this point, with a few riders. So what are the two of you doing, Samuel and Sister Michal? What are you doing in this moment?
So I was, I guess, helping Marshall out with her wounds at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess other than that, I'm probably just helping whoever else is around that needs it.
Okay. Yes. So the only other people who were wounded at all were the two drivers. So currently they have Mordecai. They kind of get him down. They sort of set him on the ground, put a bedroll sort of behind his back to sort of sit him up, and they're kind of looking at this wound, which he took kind of in his lower abdomen. And it looks like they've got the bleeding fairly well under control, but he doesn't look like he's fit to drive the wagon, and travel looks like it may be a bit painful for him at the moment.
All right, then I guess I'm going to suggest we leave him here with, I guess, maybe somebody else to watch over him until he's able to make the trip
Travel
back.
back to town.
Yeah. I
All
don't
right.
want to leave him here by himself, though.
So George Martin sort of walks by, takes a look over Mordecai's wound, and says, I think that's a good choice. The young man is in no condition to continue on. He'll just slow things down at this point. I can leave one or two of my fellows here with him to make sure that he's all right, and if he's in more of a condition to be moved in the next day or so, they can start the process of taking him back to Shade to have the doctor take a look at him. And he sort of points amongst the group of vigilantes that are along with him and kind of motions for two of them to come out. And he says, Green, Bud, come here, my friends. Unfortunately, you won't be continuing into the mountains with us. Mordecai here is far too damaged to go on. I'm going to need you to keep an eye on him and take care of him. It's a suggestion of our friends here, and I agree. And
Might I suggest the little fella in the wagon?
Jake's head pops out of the wagon. He's tries not to smile so much, but there's a slight smile on his face. I'd be very, very glad to stay and help take care of this fellow. As you can see, I'm quite the shot with this weapon, and Baxter sort of tips it sideways to move it away as it sort of is like pointing at a couple of people, and just shakes his head like, no, don't point it at anyone until you're ready to shoot at them.
Yeah, I think you've seen enough action for one day, maybe for a while. I think it would be best if you stayed here with him.
Both Green and Bud look at each other and look at Jake, and there's sort of a look that passes between them, like, no, like, oh boy, babysitting detail. But they just nod and say, we could keep the shopkeep with us too, and you're any good at tending to wounds? And Jake's like, and Baxter like takes his head and nods his head, pats him on the shoulder, kind of.
I'm sure he can assist in some manner.
Gives him a little nudge out of the wagon. So Jake reaches in, kind of fixes the bundle of medical supplies that he has on the bench inside, looks at Samuel and Sister. Everything we've got, bandage-wise and other medical supplies left is in the bag right there in the wagon.
Out of characters, does that include the doctor's bag that I have in my inventory?
No, that's your own.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, they got extra things. You requested some items on your own, so indeed. And Jake kind of collects his own things and sort of goes over and sets up alongside where they settle Mordecai in, and kind of looks over where the wound is, and he says, I'll stand guard first. You handle the medical part. And he kind of moves away from Mordecai and sets himself up on a rock with his gun. George Martin looks around and says, well, that delayed us a little bit, but I don't think he was expecting so many of us to be along. That's a good sign. I say that we try to keep on as quickly as possible to try to make up some of the time that we've lost in tracking down these ne'er-do-wells.
Yes, especially considering if Boston makes it back to his fellows, we will lose whatever element of surprise we have.
Indeed. That would be terrible. Hopefully we can catch up to him and he'll be less of a threat if he is in fact injured, or perhaps we'll simply find his corpse lying in the dirt somewhere. That's the... I hope for that more than anything. Swift justice, if you know what I mean.
I think perhaps I do.
Excellent.
Let's move.
Indeed. Where's that teacher fellow? And Henry Potts sort of pokes his head out from around the side of the wagon, where he's sort of tending to the horses up in the front. Yes, sir? And he says, you're the one familiar with the village up there in the hills. I think we've come to an agreement, yes? Are we making our way there first? You know, you've been familiar with the way, son? And Henry just nods. I can show the way. It'll be good. We can replenish some of our supplies and things. It's just a couple days journey. And that the fort is, from what they've told me, just another day or so beyond the village itself. And he points at the other driver. Are you all right to continue to drive? Do you need some help? Elvin, right? And Elvin just says, yeah, I'm fine. I'll just get one of the others to, unless one of you, and he kind of looks at Samuel and Sister Michal and Marshal, who is kind of got the arm kind of like up against, like sort of tied off and kind of slung up for now to sort of get some of the pressure off of it. Marshal shakes her head, like not doing it, and Baxter kind of ducks back inside the wagon and settles back into position inside the wagon. So,
I'll take up the seat with him. I guess the shotgun position, if you will. I think that's where it comes from. That term.
Imagine that.
He gives a nod to you, Samuel. He says, Elvin Kingsolver.
Samuel Smith. Pleasure to meet you.
You too. Be aware, we're obviously prime targets up here, Samuel. So
And they know we're here, so
they do. Hopefully that we won't run into any more trouble until we're ready to face them at the fort itself.
I'm gonna call over to George Martinish and tell him to instruct his men to keep an eye out, since we don't want this again. And they might be having more ambush spots up ahead.
Very, very wise thing. Very good thinking. Yes. He kind of motions at a few of the riders that are with you, brings them in close, talks amongst them quickly, and they kind of, there's about 6 of them that head out ahead of the wagon and the rest of the group. Sort of, and he says, we'll send them out ahead. If there's any trouble, they can send someone back to warn us, or we'll hear it. I've told them to ride not too far, but maybe, a half mile or so, give or take, a little ways ahead of us to keep an eye out so we don't run into anything like this again. Very, very good thinking, son.
That should work.
The dove sent out to retrieve an olive branch after the flood.
Shall we?
Indeed.
Let's shall.
So everyone finds their horses, mounts back up, collects themselves, and begins riding ahead down this path. Samuel, do you have... Let's see here. I have to look at numbers. So do you have any kind of, drive skill? Drive wagon. How's your drive wagon?
The starting 20, that 20%.
Excellent. Just give me a roll of it. I'm going to give you an advantage die because you are riding with Elvin up there, and he's more skilled at this than you are. Excellent. So you actually, for not having done this very often, and it's not something that you're generally used to. Elvin looks over, gives you a nod as you sort of settle into the seat. He kind of hands you off the reins and gives you a little bit of a quick talk through for driving the horse, as he's kind of favoring the good arm over the bad arm a little bit. And you get the wagon rolling and have no problems. The horses are controlled even after everything that happened, as the party sets off, heading deeper into the mountains. As the slope, the road kind of starts to meander. You've noticed it a little bit, but it starts to sort of have a little rise to it as you go further into the mountain. Also, riding along, driving the wagon itself, you notice that this area, this road, is more of a dirt path and less traveled, so the wagon is a little bit harder to control, so you have to stay very much on point, but Elvin is paying attention, talking you through it, and you're doing an excellent job of keeping it under control on this rocky, bumpy path. So, you travel for a couple more hours. The sun is starting to set, and you haven't had any other sort of altercations at this point. None of the riders come back until probably just as kind of dusk is starting to settle overhead. And then you can see them coming back, riding not too fast, a comfortable clip heading back in your direction. And the lead sort of yells out, "Everything's fine up ahead. We're coming back to, we found a place where we could probably pull off for the night and set up a camp for the evening." And Martin sort of gives a nod and says, Good job. Show us where to go. Yes, we don't want to be traveling out here in the dark. We'd want to get a fire set up and all." So about a quarter of a mile up, it opens up a little bit, and there's a space where you can pull the wagon off. There's some area to sort of let the horses kind of graze a bit here. And it's open enough and a little less rocky, so you could find some places to lay down bedrolls and find a place to sleep. And so everyone starts sort of taking all the saddles off the horses, taking down the saddlebags, and kind of setting up camp for the evening. So what do you two want to do, as Martin is sort of discussing with a couple of his men about setting a watch for the night?
Well, I am not entirely sure that these men won't assume kill us as look at us for some imagined slight over another. So I will volunteer to take part in the watches, as is only right as part of this party.
All right. Martin kind of looks over, says, you don't have to take part. I brought plenty of my own people here to spread out the timetable for evening watches and things, so everyone gets a good night's rest. And you're unfamiliar with the land, and do you, I mean, a good night's rest, wouldn't that suit you better than staying up in the evening and having to stare out into this dark, cold desert looking for trouble?
Silent contemplation is very much in the nature of my calling.
Well, sister, if then I am not one to, if you want to stay awake, and then, of course, pardon me, forgive me for any assumptions. That if you want to stay up and keep an eye on things, then it's good to have a person of the Lord sort of watching over us as well. I appreciate that.
Your appreciation is noted,
As
is your lack of judgment.
Gives you a tip of his hat and kind of turns around and walks away, heading back toward his people. Looks back over his shoulder. shakes his head a little bit and keeps walking back over. Takes his saddlebags off his horse as he's continuing his conversation with a couple of his men. The marshal is sitting with Marshal Otis. He's sort of looking at the wound, double checking that she's doing all right. Baxter is inspecting the wagon, checking everything out with Elvin sort of helping him look, making sure that the rockier road and things like that haven't done any damage to the undercarriage of the wagon. And Henry Potts sort of has collected up some firewood with the help of a few of the others and is kind of setting up a small fire in a little low pit that he's dug. He looks around at Samuel and at Sister Michal, says, so do you think everything's all right with, I mean, I'm a bit nervous with just the sheer numbers that Martin brought. I mean, it makes me feel comfortable in the sense of, a lot more people on our side, but I mean, you're kind of new to Shade, and Martin's been trying to sort of muscle the marshal out of his position in town and kind of, show that people that, organized law enforcement sort of isn't really necessary. So it makes me a little nervous to have so many, of his men that are kind of loyal to his ideas along in this situation, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. That's part of the reason why I've made certain to volunteer to take a watch. That and the fact that I was concerned that they might either sneak away in the middle of the night to enact their own brand of justice without us interfering, or enact said justice upon us should they deem it at any point necessary.
That's a really good idea. Would you do me a favor when you're ready to go to sleep for the night? I wouldn't mind sitting up and kind of taking the second part of the evening. Just that way somebody other than them's up too. Even if I'm just sitting over here, keeping the coals hot in the fire. Extra set of eyes, just to be careful.
Absolutely, Mr. Potts. Thank you very much for volunteering.
Oh, of course. My biggest concern is just, with everything that's happened, I just hope that the mayor's daughter is all right and we get her back in one piece, and this reverend fellow is taken care of. I don't understand. Like, I've seen him around every once in a while, but he's just a really, really strange, kind of intimidating fellow. And, I mean, obviously the company keeps his, gunslingers and outlaws, and I don't know. He just, doesn't really strike me as a man of the church. I mean, I'm sure, you'd agree with that, sister.
To say the least.
All right. Well, I'm heating up a little bit of stew that brought with us packaged up for dinner tonight, and we've got some dried meats and things and some dried fruits and stuff, but we'll be able to get a few more things when we get to the village day after next, and kind of refill our canteens and maybe get a little bit better rest and have a few more people on our side, at least that I know we could trust. They're good people. Not that the others aren't good people. I mean, I just think that they they've kind of bought into this whole vigilante justice a little too hard for my liking.
I have faith in your assessment of the villagers that we will be encountering, Mr. Potts.
All right. Well, I'll bring you over some soup when it's ready. Kind of gets up, walks back over to the fire, kind of stirs the cooking pot that he's got going. Marshal Otis sort of comes over with Marshall, sits down, sort of motions for Samuel, if Samuel's nearby, to come and sit too. He says,
Marshall.
Otis shakes his head. He's like,
I look over at the horse. Marshall.
and then he looks at the horse and he looks back at you and he's like, no, it's really. And he looks at Marshall. Marshall, you named your horse Marshall? Marshall nods. What of it? I mean, I guess it's easy to remember. This is, you know what, y'all can refer to me as Otis. I think that we've you've stepped up quite a bit for my little town since you've been around the last couple days. So Otis is fine. But I just wanted to just take a seat, sort of check in, see how you're all what you're all feeling about this, because you know, you don't really have to put yourselves at risk this way. I mean, this is my town, my responsibility. In his own way, I know that's how Martin feels in his own special way. But but you all are, you know, you could pack yourselves up, take yourselves back to your lives, and you wouldn't have to deal with any of this drama that's going on in this little town here. So I just wanted to touch base and make sure that everything's all right. If you decided to turn around and go back, just so you know, I wouldn't hold it against anyone here.
As much as we'd like to avoid a quarrel between a few townsfolk, we feel that there's something else going on here in this region, and it seems to be connected with strange events that y'all have been experiencing, and we're more or less here for that. But this seems to be connected as well, and so that's why we're here.
I can understand that, and I appreciate it even more with y'all knowing that, even though I don't exactly understand what it is that's going on with the rest of that, that you're willing to stick around with that included in everything that's happened.
I, to speak for myself, very much doubt that any of us would be able to live with ourselves if we walked away.
Well, you're a good group of people. I appreciate that you came to us all when you did. It's I think things happen for a reason, and maybe you're meant to be here. But I just hope that, let's just say, and I wouldn't admit this to George Martin, but let's just say, the way things have been going, the weird things that have been happening, I've been a bit on edge about it, and it's good to have someone from outside come in and tell me that I'm not entirely losing my mind, even if I may be losing my mind a little bit over what's going on. But that's all I really had to say, unless you have any concerns. I just wanted to make sure that I gave you that option, because with everything that happened, I feel like things sort of things have happened quickly, and I didn't want you to think that you didn't have a choice.
There's always a choice, Marshal.
Well, all
But
right.
thank you for reminding us.
Well, I just want you to know, whatever happens, that I appreciate this, that you're here.
Thank you.
And he gets up and kind of walks away, kind of checking in on other members of the posse as he goes. Marshal sort of looks around and says, "Well, I'm going to turn in for the night. I'm hoping a little rest will be good for my wounds, so I'm going to call it for the night." But and she looks at both Samuel and sister and says, "If you do need someone else to sit up, I heard you talking to Henry. Someone can wake me, and I'd gladly sit and keep an eye on things myself, if it's necessary overnight."
Absolutely not. In fact, have some of this laudanum.
Why don't you roll a persuasion? Well, you can choose persuasion or intimidation for sister to get Marshall to take the laudanum.
I'll go with persuasion, and it's the green dice, right?
I believe so. I don't roll these enough to for sure. There you go. Oh, all right. So Marshall looks like there may be a bit of argument, but the very serious look that sister gives her, she takes it and settles herself in for the night without an argument.
That's right, you do. You don't argue with God, young lady.
And as you say that, and she turns over, you look over, and Baxter has already sort of settled himself in and is already sound asleep comfortably. Like right near his wagon. He's kind of set himself up right near his wagon. So Sister
Sounds
Michal
about
is going
right.
to, yeah, Sister Michal, you are going to spend the first couple hours watching with the others. Samuel, what's your plan for overnight?
Samuel probably can't. He's too anxious, so he's probably not going to be sleeping much. He might try to take a snooze while the sister's on watch, but he's definitely going to take probably a later watch if at all possible.
Okay. So, let's see. So everyone settles in for the evening. I'm going to roll a couple things over here. All right. Let's see, Baxter. Where is your power roll? Okay. And Marshall. Marshall. Ooh, power. Nice. Okay. Then let's see. Dang. Okay.
There it is.
There it is. All right. And
Yeah, I was like, these are going way too
they
well.
really were going well, weren't they? So Baxter,
Hooray!
Yay! What you missed, the group rode on a little ways from the ambush point from last session, and has settled in for the evening to rest. Baxter is sort of camped out, kind of sleeping comfortably in close proximity to the wagon to keep an eye on it. Marshal has gone to sleep as well, and at the insistence of Sister Michal, because Marshal took some serious wounds in the fight, and Sister Michal and Samuel were planning to split shifts, sort of staying up overnight, keeping an eye on the surroundings, but also keeping an eye on George Martin's vigilantes, who have been assigned to keep watch officially. So when we come back, I'm going to have Sister. I need you to roll me a spot hidden roll, please, as you are sort of up and kind of keeping an eye on things.
Sure. Well,
All right, so you are sitting up, kind of trying to keep an eye out. It's not terribly bright out. That I mean, there are some stars that are giving off some light tonight, but the moon is sort of shrouded by a lot of cloud cover this evening, so it's very dim lighting here where you're set up for camp, and the fire has been left low, kind of at just warm coals for the most part, to sort of keep it from being noticed at a distance. So as you go on your watch, kind of watching the rest of the vigilantes who have sort of spread themselves out around the perimeter of your camp, nothing catches your eye. It's otherwise quiet aside from the local wildlife sort of making noises out in the distance. You do notice, however, a few of the members of the vigilante party that's with you who are sound asleep. A couple of them sort of rolling around uncomfortably. They seem like they're maybe having some sort of dreams that are discomfort, a little bit of a discomfort to them, though they're still sound asleep at this moment. But otherwise, nothing catches your eye.
Uncomfortable dreams. Now, did the four of us ever have a chance to talk about the second round of wet dreams that we had?
There were opportunities, but I do believe...
Oh, come on. Like, I wasn't going to go there.
I do believe that everyone sort of washed over. Like, no one specifically said to anyone else, oh, hey, I had this weird dream. Even Baxter and Samuel sort of woke up from very similar dreams in the church where they were sharing the room. And if I remember right, there was like, it was very much kind of like, you're right, you're right. Yeah, no, I'm fine. And then that was the discussion of the dreams.
Just guys being dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Marshal Wallace has not disclosed as anything specific about the dreams that she has had, and even the fears that have come from her dreams. Like, aside from maybe anyone noticing little behaviors, especially surrounding water the previous day for a bit, there was no real discussion on that note either.
We're very emotionally open, communicative people.
Yep. Speaking of water, hydrating.
It's important.
Very much. But yeah,
anyway,
there's about 3 members of the vigilante group that are sort of sleeping close by, not like right near the fire, but close, who are tossing and turning uncomfortably. The rest those that are sleeping seem like they're not having any problems.
Am I going to wake a potentially troubled sleeper who is also a violent vigilante? I am absolutely going to do that. I'm going to try and like shake them awake. Like,
all right.
Wake up, you're having a nightmare.
Okay.
Get a hold of yourself, man.
So you go over and you pick the closest one to you and start trying to shake them awake. Let's see here. I'm going to roll for them. Let's see. All right, so you move over and you start shaking this person awake, and with a start and like their eyes snap open and they sort of sit up very fast, almost kind of knocking you over as they do. And they try to sort of you can tell that they want to scream for a second, but they almost just gargle and then kind of start hacking and coughing and looking around in complete shock and surprise, taking in the surroundings, and then just start this dry hacking cough, almost like they're trying to catch their breath, trying to get air into their lungs. And they just look at you with these wide eyes and kind of hoarsely are like, what happened?
You were having troubled sleep.
I was drowning. I was getting pulled under.
You dreamt you were in the ocean?
I don't know. It was dark, and all I could see was, I think it was the moon, but like a full moon above the surface. But I couldn't get to it. I kept swimming upward, and it felt like something was grabbing my legs and just kept drawing me deeper and deeper underneath the water. And there was this like voice. I couldn't understand what it was saying, but it was just this voice sort of echoing through the water all around me. I don't understand.
No, I think that is quite the common sentiment. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about, my child.
It felt real though. Like I feel like I've all this water still like burning in my throat.
Well, I have very little in the way of medical experience, but I could check to see if you, in fact, have any water in your throat to try and ease your mind.
Okay. What do I have to do?
Say ah.
Do you want to roll a medicine or first aid roll?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do medicine. Oh, fuck. Just shove my hands in.
You, you have no idea. You look inside his, you try to kind of see in the dark, kind of crane your neck. You are
Wow,
completely
I need to get my eyes checked.
no idea. Am I dying? Was it real?
Well, you might have scurvy.
What?
Or maybe that's gingivitis.
He doesn't have very good teeth.
I think you're fine. I know that this is a very troubling experience for you, but I am sure that it is nothing to worry about. Try and get some sleep.
I'm not very religious, but do you think you could maybe do a prayer, protect me from if maybe it's something. I mean, I made bad choices. Maybe I need a little protection. Maybe it was really terrifying, sister. I didn't think I was gonna make it, and even when I woke up, I still sort of felt like I was under the water, still drowning for. Even I can still feel it.
I would be happy to. Give me your hands.
Gives you his hands.
and I sort of press them together so they're like in a prayer motion, and I cut my hands over his. And I say the Latin for Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord is with thee, blessed art thou amongst women, blessed the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and in the hour of death. Amen. Blah. And try and just focus on the positive energy and goodwill towards others that I basically believe God to be, and try to focus that into him.
He mutters along with you, though he doesn't have any idea what exactly the words mean. And when you finish, he says, thank you. I feel a little bit better. Thank you very much, sister. I appreciate it. I think I can, if not sleep, at least rest a bit for the rest of the night. By the way, I'm Jones.
Jones, it's lovely to meet you.
You as well.
I hope that you have the opportunity after this endeavor is over to consider a course that your life could take that might make you feel the sort of comfort that you felt praying with me every day of your life, rather than fear of shadows in the dark and waters when you dream.
He just nods at you. And he doesn't seem to have anything else to say. He's sort of contemplating what you said to him.
Good night, Jones.
Good night. And he sort of rolls back over on his bedroll, but you can tell he's not like shutting his eyes and going back to sleep. He's just sort of lying there. The other two that were asleep are still restless, but not so much so as he was.
Well, I have to not worry about them because I have to run back over to everyone else and panic.
All right. So what are you doing when you run back over to where the rest of your group is either sleeping and or dozing?
Well, I remember that we discussed the first round of dreams. So going based off of that, I'm going to just shake everybody awake.
Okay. So Baxter, Marshall, and Samuel, you are all woken by Sister Michal.
Something amiss, sister?
Actually, I would probably not try to wake the Marshal because I did insist very much that she needs rest. Pharmaceutically aided rest. Something is incredibly amiss.
Go on.
Do you remember the first night we arrived in town?
Yes.
The dreams of the ocean and the drowning that occurred.
Right.
There have been recurrences of that event. I experienced another such dream last night, and only moments ago I shook awake one of the members of George Martin's crew, a gentleman by the name of Jones, who described is precisely the same dream that we suffered.
Yeah, we seem to be all having the same dreams, and it seems that these dreams started about the same time as the other events that we came to investigate started happening as well. So they seem to be somewhat connected, at least with everyone in the town. The time frame matches up.
That it does. I think something. Is it possible that the Reverend is being driven by some malevolent force that he considers a god that is causing these dreams?
I wouldn't say it's not possible, but I think that's more your purview than it is mine.
I would say that is unlikely.
All right, well, diversity of opinion is a lovely thing.
I thought your book had something about false idols.
Oh, several things. Especially near the end. A big deal about a seven-headed beast with 10 crowns rising from the ocean. It's all terrible.
They say every story has a eensy bit of truth behind it, though.
That they do. Can I try and do another occult roll or something to try and I try and figure out what could be causing dreams? I mean, I sort of already rolled for that a while ago. Feels like a freaking lifetime ago with this pandemic.
You can roll an occult roll and try to see if you can remember anything like this from anything that you've studied previously about things.
Happily.
Wow. That is a pretty good roll. All right, so this whole sort of water kind of connection. Many years ago, maybe when you first sort of began to study a little bit into sort of the occult and things of that nature and various groups that followed these kind of things, there was a certain sort of comment or iconography that kind of came back a handful of times throughout your studies, and a lot of times surrounding the idea of some sort of body of water playing a large role in the practices of these groups. And you remember the connecting sort of arc between them was always this sort of star iconography, something like the spawn of a star or a star spawn type information. They talked about the idea of giving offerings to this sort of entity through kind of a baptism in these bodies of water, but it was really like the baptism was kind of sacrificing individuals by throwing them in and letting them drown in the water to sort of empower this deity that these groups believed in. You never really determined beyond like if it was just a lot of spread out craziness or if there was like something that separate that can, you never found like the connecting point between the ones that you kind of were studying. That so it kind of left you wondering how these separate groups could come to have a lot of the same sort of methodology. So maybe there's something there to that. Like maybe there is something more working underneath the surface. But definitely the star, the iconography of the star and of the water and of the idea of these sacrifices, these drownings were big connecting features, and it kind of rings a very strong bell. You don't know so much about maybe the nightmares. That's sort of something that is new, maybe to add to your information about this kind of a possible power.
Indeed, yeah. This all sounds consistent with studies that I've done concerning Apocrypha and Esoterica, regarding a being that was the spawn of a star, possibly poetically, and which drew power from individuals being drowned as a human sacrifice, which tracks very specifically with what has been going on in the town of Shade.
Sounds very much like the dreams we've been having.
Indeed, and the people who have been wandering to bodies of water and dying just...
And that other incident with the man in the trough in the middle of town.
Indeed.
Anyone who has who would say that their character would have some kind of interest in historical study can roll me a history roll, please.
I'll try.
When the sister brings this up.
Nope.
Now remember, you can spend luck to make roll a success.
You wouldn't have to spend much, I don't think.
No, you missed
Nope.
it. You're missing it by 1.
I'll do it. I'll
All right.
spend the 1.
All right, so spend that 1. And I will say, so Samuel, listening to Sister Michal bring this up, you've done, a lot of study of history and things like that. And while you've never seen a copy of this book in person, it does kind of jog your memory to a book that maybe was discussed in, a setting, maybe in a like amongst other historical, friends who are interested in history, or maybe in a class at some point. But there was it was sort of not so much a regular like novel, as more maybe it read more as a diary, perhaps, from what you heard in discussion. You think it was called something along the lines of "To the Waters I Go," and the book was written sometime in 1660, thereabouts, and it was supposedly a record about a pull toward the ocean, aquatic life, and lost civilizations. It referenced something to do with sea people, and sort of noted the person who was keeping the diary noted that they were drawn to it because of dreams that they had that kind of continued to get more and more like powerful as time went on and more intensive. And that sort of drew them to this idea of wanting to be a part of the aquatic life, the part of the sea people. But you, aside from that, you think that it was talked about that there may have been some sort of ceremonies or things like that that this person created and or partook in to try and achieve this goal that their dream was telling them was like they considered it their destiny.
In my studies, I do recall hearing about a book, a diary, possibly, about someone very interested in the water and in their dreams getting more powerful. And I said before, worshiping false idols might have a place in the Bible, but I think that's kind of what's going on here. That someone is partaking in some sort of worship or ritual, and getting some sort of benefit from it in terms of the sea and altering people's dreams.
Does seem to be the case, or at the very least, I don't know what else we could possibly conclude as to so many people having precisely the same dream consecutively and concurrently.
I think our main goal is going to be finding this Smythe character. We can let the others deal with the rest, but I think that's our main objective here.
I agree. In any case, my apologies for waking you.
I wasn't really that much asleep anyway.
So, Baxter, you were sleeping pretty soundly. No dreams
Yes.
bothering you. Do you go back to sleep now for the evening, or do you stay?
I try to sleep.
You try to go back to sleep.
Yeah, try.
All right. So Baxter, after the conversation, goes back to sleep. At this point, sister, it's late enough that you could probably switch shifts with Samuel if you wanted to, and also try to get some sleep yourself, or as Samuel was doing, maybe not sleep but try to get some rest.
I'm absolutely not going to sleep. No, thank you, Satan.
Do you ask Samuel to stay up too, or do you allow him to go back to bed and you're going to stay up for the rest of the night yourself?
I will leave that up to Samuel. I will say to him, I unsurprisingly feel no inclination to go to sleep anytime soon, and accordingly I could simply continue my watch rather than trouble you to do yours.
No, I would prefer to do a watch myself, carry my share of the burden. I don't get normally good sleep either before some sort of event like this. Always have. If you want to take a break, you can. I'm not going to stop you, but I will definitely be doing my part to take a watch.
Very good then. Well, many hands make light work.
Exactly.
All right, so the two of you are going to sit up as you watch the other members of the vigilante crew who have sat up for the first watch sort of start making their way back over, waking those that are supposed to take their shift for them, and kind of going to turn in for themselves. One of the two of you roll me spot hidden checks, please.
Go ahead. Doing a great job of this watch biz.
Does Sister Michal want to roll as well?
Oh, what
don't
the
have to.
hell? What's the worst? What's the worst that could happen? I fail again
I mean,
and low.
all right. So the two of you sit up for the rest of the evening as
And we're so worried about the vigilantes that were eaten by coyotes.
indeed. And sister, why don't you roll me, and actually, since Samuel, you weren't really sleeping either, both of you roll me a power roll as the night goes on. As your inclination is to stay up, but you are physically, it's been a long day and you are a bit tired. So Samuel, you managed to stay awake. You notice Sister Michal is sort of nodding off and kind of starting to fall asleep, kind of sitting in her position.
I'm probably gonna grab a blanket and just throw it over her if that's the case, and continue my watch.
All right. So sister, you're nodding off. Samuel puts a blanket around you. And do me a favor, roll me another power roll, please, as you nod off and fall asleep. All right. So,
Unaccounted.
so Samuel, the rest of the night goes by without any other trouble. You do, you noticed amongst those that were awake for their shift that have gone back to sleep, one or two that are twisting and turning, but not anything that's sets you like nervous or anything like that. They just seem uncomfortable in their sleep. But as dawn starts to break and everyone sort of starts to wake, sister, you wake up from a sound, quiet, dreamless sleep, kind of covered in this blanket, sort of curled up close to where the fire is. Samuel is sitting nearby, finishing the night's watch, as Baxter is also waking over by the wagon.
Thank you, Jesus.
The marshal is getting up, kind of tentatively, the pain in the arm, setting in after the first night of sleeping with it, kind of looks at it and looks around for someone to change the bandages on the wound.
I'll do that.
All right.
I'll try to.
Go for it. I'll give you an advantage roll, advantage die. So roll the purple dice, as
Ooh.
this is not to treat the wound, but to just rewrap it successfully.
Medicine or first aid?
Either one, whichever you want to do.
I'll go with first aid this time.
Excellent. So you very deftly and with almost a practiced hand unwrap, kind of clean and rewrap the wound. And while the marshal looks a bit worse for wear, and you are a bit concerned at the blood loss and the nature of the wound itself, she's still on her feet, still able to move ahead. So
I told you should have someone look at that.
solid stare from the marshal. I'm gonna go check on my horse, and she walks the other way toward the horse. It's at this point that, as you're all getting up and kind of getting ready, you notice amongst the group of George Martin's people, there's kind of like an agitated like whisper kind of starting to spread. And you see a few people moving around, kind of starting to, they look like they're sort of moving outside of the perimeter of the camp, like they're looking for something. And they just seem somewhat agitated as you're starting to kind of collect your things this morning.
Do I see Jones?
Looking around, make me a spot check.
Oh, yeah, babe. Spot.
So you don't see Jones amongst the group that's sort of, his bedroll and things are still right there, but you don't see him anywhere in sight.
That might not be good.
What do you all want to do?
probably call out to somebody, ask what's going on.
All right, so you call out to the nearest group, and one woman sort of turns and nods at her friends and walks over and says, "We have you seen Houston? We can't seem to locate him anywhere this morning."
I don't believe that I have seen Houston.
He's a large fellow. He's a big, bushy red beard, unkept red hair, about 6'2". You remember seeing this fellow amongst their group, but you didn't meet him or talk to him. As there's so many of them, you kind of haven't had a chance to really interact with everyone.
Yes, the name does sound familiar, but I don't believe I've seen him as recently as having woken up.
Well, last we heard, he lay down over there, and she points kind of at the far end of the campsite where you all have set up. Everyone else has kind of rolled up their things and started to put them away, and now they're in kind of disarray as they have started to notice that his things are there, his bedroll is laid out, but his bag is still there. It looks like his gun belt is left with the guns in the belt, but he's not. They can't find him anywhere.
Well, that ain't good. Are there tracks or anything?
I don't know if anyone's found any. I haven't looked myself. Do you all want to go over and try to see if you can find any tracks leading away from here?
Sure.
I will say that I'm going to give it a hard difficulty on a tracking roll, only because there's been a lot of foot traffic crossing over this at this point, as they've been meandering about and kind of making a real mess of the area. So, all right, Baxter, you kind of are looking around, trying to find if you can find any tracks or anything like that. You could spend a luck. Looks like you're close. I know the sister doesn't see anything.
I'm gonna spend that one luck.
All right. So, Sister Michal and Baxter, you both are looking around, and there's so many tracks kind of covering it, and you can't make it.
I have no idea what I'm looking for.
And then Baxter, you're just about to kind of give up, and you sort of notice it looks like amidst all this kind of crisscrossing tracks, you do see what you think is a fresh set of tracks kind of leading away from the camp and continuing north away from the camp, as if they got up and started just walking up the road to the north.
I found something, and I go up to Samuel and sister. Actually, they live north, quite a ways.
How in the world did you spot that?
You learn a lot of things in the streets.
I will take your word for it.
Baxter, they don't exactly look like they don't look like they followed the kind of dirt trail here that is known as the Outlaw Trail, so much as they have kind of meandered out of camp, and where the trail kind of it heads north, but it kind of, it turns and sort of goes a little east or west depending on the rise and fall of the hills. These tracks look like they leave and they go north, and they kind of very quickly go off this beaten track and are just almost a direct northern walk away. They don't look like they don't look like they're like spaced out, so they don't look like they were running. In fact, they almost look like there's a little bit of a drag to each step. Like it's not like a clean like kind of step, and there's like a clean cut distance between the prints. It looks like, you know, there's a step and then there's kind of a drag mark to the next step, and then like almost like a stumbling step away.
Like a sleepwalker?
Perhaps.
Either that or
I'm gonna ask. He's one of George Martin's guys, right?
He is one of George's men.
yeah, you do it because we said it first.
This man Houston, he's not a deserter, is he?
So do you go up to George Martin himself?
Yeah.
Okay. George kind of looks around at you and he says, Houston, no. He works for me personally on my ranch. He's one of my cattle herders. I think he moved out to Shade, 10 years or so ago. Quiet fellow, doesn't get up to too much. A bit of a temper. You know, if you push him, he'll knock you out rather than finish the argument. That's his sense of finishing an argument. But otherwise, no. I've always thought him to be quite the more even-keeled fellow for the most part, as far as he gets his work done, doesn't overindulge in any sort of drink or things like that. So I've always been able to rely on him over the years.
He's not one to turn tail.
Oh, no, I don't think many things would scare the man. Not that I've seen, but I mean, I guess any man has his breaking point.
If he were turning tail, why would he head north?
I'm just trying to rule out the other possibilities. I don't really know the man myself, so.
I mean, there's, you know, one or two people who amongst these that I might slightly be concerned might know or be friendly with some of the fellows we're hunting down, but no one that I think would blatantly just head off in their direction and give up that protection they have when they work for me. They know if I find out about it that I'm going to string them up as soon as I get my hands on them.
I'm going to turn to the sister and Baxter and say, it looks like these dreams are getting a little bit more physical than our previous encounters with them.
Marshal says, well, there was that fellow that threw himself in the trough and tried to finish himself off under the water the other morning outside the boarding house.
And this could be a similar situation.
Indeed. Mr. Martin?
Yes?
Where's the nearest body of water?
Nearest body of water surrounding this, I mean, I'm sure there's various small mountain streams and lakes up and about in here. Would be hard for me to say. I haven't really gone this far north, but I mean, could be anywhere along the trail. Mr. Potts, and the school teacher Henry Potts, who is kind of double checking the medical supplies in the wagon and sort of helping to get some of the horses saddled up, looks over, sets the saddle, checks with the fellow he's helping, and then wanders over and, yes? Well, these, they're curious. You're somewhat familiar with the area. Bodies of water. And he says, well, I mean, the next closest place to that there's any significant body of water would be the small stream and pond that runs by the village to the north. Like I said, we're not going to be able to get anything as far as being able to fill our own canteens until at least we reach that point along here. So, I mean, that's as close as I think that you're going to find it. I mean, I'm not sure east, west, whatever, if there's anything else, but as far as I know, that's the closest option.
And I have a feeling that's exactly where Houston is going. For the last time.
Wait, who's going where?
Well, there's these tracks that lead up to north, and they are likely Houston's.
What, he went on foot? I mean,
We could send a small team on horseback. He couldn't have gone far.
yeah, Baxter, I'll say that you think that he probably has maybe 3 to 4 hour, like based on the tracks and based on if you ask around a little bit for those who kept watch overnight, the last time that someone noticed him there, you probably say he's got about 3 or 4 hours lead.
Anyone who goes with a solid road can reach up to him in no time.
Henry says, "Well, that's unless I hope there's not another ambush set up like the one we hit yesterday, because if he walked into something like that alone, I mean, we're lucky we had so many people with us. It was, just a couple of them versus, all these people. They didn't have a chance at really doing a lot of harm."
Is there any passages like that where one could put an ambush?
I mean, as you get a little bit further north, the mountain kind of to the east, the mountain really, I mean, and he kind of points in the distance. You can see there where the mountain kind of really starts to climb, and you've got the big rise up there, and then over to the west he points and he says, and you can see the smaller sort of slopes and hills over there. So this road that we're taking, this kind of trail, it does pass through sort of another kind of low-lying kind of little valley between the two. As you head a little more north, maybe we'll probably reach that before the end of the day. So, I mean, there are places where someone could get, like position up above and kind of get a line of sight on the road coming in and have cover from us kind of seeing it with, if they hidden some of the brush or something up that way or things like that. I mean, so there are possibilities, I would say.
What if we don't take the road? What if we just follow Mr. Houston's tracks directly on horseback?
Well, I mean, so from here, if you go, I mean, if he's going straight north, yeah, he's gonna hit the rise of the slope and start heading up kind of into the mountain itself. On foot, it's gonna take him a bit. Probably, I mean, it would probably take him more than today. It would probably take him, I'd say, sometime tomorrow if he stopped to rest. I mean, if he's walking straight through, aside from if he doesn't stop for water, he's probably gonna drop in the heat today. Eventually he's going to start climbing and meandering up into the mountain itself. The village that we're looking for is sort of a little bit, the road kind of, it's going to kind of take a little bit of a northwestern kind of turn here in a bit. And, so the village is sort of up and on that northwestern kind of corner of the road before it kind of cuts back a little bit to the northeast and then sort of heads further north into the mountains itself toward that fort we're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's better to send a small team way faster than we would copy in a big group.
George Martin says, "Well, I can send a few of my people and see if they can track him down and drag him back if he's if they locate him, if that's all right with y'all."
I think I can, me and the can get him in no time.
Oh,
yes. If we do run into an ambush, wouldn't it be better that we not risk any of your posse, Mr. Martin, given your training and firepower and whatnot?
Oh, are you saying that y'all would want to go after Houston and meet back up with us as we take the rest of my men up north along the road?
Yeah, we can meet
Indeed.
at the village.
I mean, that if that's something y'all want to take on for yourselves and you want to go retrieve this gentleman, I mean, I can if you want to do it yourselves, fine. I can send one or two of my people with you, whatever. I will leave that entirely up to you, but I am perfectly happy to take the rest of my group and continue heading north with Mr. Potts here, and he puts a hand on Henry's shoulder. Henry kind of flinches a little bit, and have him continue to show us the way toward the village. He can, Mr. Potts, you can give them enough information to find the village if they need to. And Henry nods.
We could use an extra gun on the way.
I mean, that's fine. Let's see. He kind of looks over his people. I can send Granville over there, or I could send Roderick. Both of them are good shots, and I trust them. Roderick's actually he's my ranch forehand.
What was it? Roderick's?
Yeah, Roderick Cronin. If you want him to come along, I can have him ride along and support you.
Yeah, Roderick seems to be.
All right, I'll go get him to make sure he's settled up, and send him on over. And he nods, and he walks off, heading in the direction of his people. Kind of makes his way through the group, and you see him stop at this kind of a tall, lanky fellow. He's got a short, clean-cut beard and mustache. He's got this sort of light tan hat that he's putting on his head as George walks over, kind of takes it off and nods to him, kind of give him a little nod of respect, and you see them kind of chit-chatting, and his eyes kind of look over to where your group is, and he kind of is nodding, like, understanding. And then they sort of part ways, and he walks over, you see him kind of finish up, kind of attaching his saddlebags and checking his things, and he starts walking back in your direction, kind of leading his horse in your direction. Is there anything you want to do before he makes his way over to you?
I think we can just grab a few rations and just head out right away.
All right. So, you all saddle up your various horses and things. They take your wagon, Baxter, and this time Elvin has another one of his cohorts sort of jump up into the shotgun seat to help him drive the wagon, since he's still a little bit injured. But it seems like Elvin is taking the lead today more so. Like he's bandaged his arm up better, and he seems better now that the wound has been cleaned and taken care of. And he kind of nods toward your little group and says over to Baxter, "Don't worry, we'll take good care of your wagon. We'll see you in a few hours, young man." And then he flicks the horses, and the wagon starts to roll away over the clumpy, rocky path, kind of heavily, like, jingling and making noise, as it is quite the heavy wagon. And Roderick comes over. He says, "Hello. Mr. Martin says that I'm supposed to come along with y'all. We're gonna go look for Houston and meet back up with the rest of this group, and after we hopefully locate him wherever he's wandered off to."
Yeah, we'll be heading to where the tracks lead and get to live from the when we find him.
All right, I've got they're gonna bring over his horse. I'll tie her off to me, and we'll have her follow along with us. So if we do find him, we've got a mount for him to ride back. So we're not trying to figure that out.
Excellent idea. Thank you.
No problem. So name's Roderick. I'm the foreman over at Mr. Martin's ranch. I handle pretty much most of the day-to-day business on the ranch itself. I'm pretty good with my firearms, so if we should be all right though. I don't foresee us having too many issues. Just having to collect Houston. I'm not sure why he'd wander off. He's never done this sort of thing before.
Let's head out.
Well, just in case, keep your firearm ready.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yep. Hopefully we don't have any trouble. Hopefully, since we're going off road for a bit, we'll have more luck than the rest of them if they do have something set up ahead. But yeah, let's get this show on the road. Come on. And he rides over as one of the others sort of brings over Houston's horse. They've repacked the saddlebags and everything for him, and he ties the reins around his saddle horn, and then looks at the rest of you and he says, "All right, y'all." Nods at Baxter. "You're the one found the tracks. I guess you're leading the way, son."
Yeah, and I will hop on my horse, and head out and follow the tracks.
All right, so you all head out and head northward away from your camp location as you watch the rest of your party make their way along the outlaw trail, and very soon you sort of lose sight of them as the trail kind of meanders off and starts to kind of turn slightly to the left, and you continue sort of riding kind of in a straight line northward, a little bit meandering here and there as the foothills kind of start to sort of rise a bit. And Baxter, you every once in a while are keeping track of these sort of dragging footprints and leading the group further kind of up and into the hills. And this goes for a bit. And why don't you all, after, we'll say, you probably ride for maybe about just under 2 hours. And why don't you all, as you're kind of have ridden a little ways into the hills a bit, make me some listen rolls.
Oh, fuck you. I'm going to spend 1 point of luck.
Okay. All right. And how about Samuel? I will roll one for our friend. Oh. Excellent. So, you're sort of riding along, and you've taken to, you're kind of riding on this sort of path that is kind of meandering up a rise along the mountain cliff here. And you're kind of, it's wide enough that you can ride comfortably like two horses alongside each other without getting anywhere near the edge looking over. And it kind of disappears sort of up and around the corner to the left up ahead. And Sister Michal and Samuel, as you are coming up this rise, the two of you hear in the distance it sounds sort of like something like a low growling sound coming from up and around the corner. And it sounds like there's more than one. Some kind of animal or something is up ahead. There's a couple of them at least, and you can hear them sort of growling, and you're not sure. I mean, I would say It sounds almost like you would guess. It sounds like a low dog growling in the distance. No one else seems to notice it.
Does anyone else hear that?
It sounds like we got a dog, probably.
Wolves?
Do you want to roll me a nature check, sister?
Happily.
Do you want to spend one luck?
I'm going to spend 1 luck.
There's a theme here I'm seeing tonight. You think to yourself,
There, but for the grace of God, go I.
you definitely think to yourself, you think wolves. Like, this definitely sounds like some kind of wolves, and there's probably at least a small pack of them up and around this corner somewhere, near enough that you can hear them, but far enough that it's the rest of your group didn't make out the noises yet, except for Samuel.
I think we have wolves.
All right, everyone. I guess keep an eye out. Maybe we can just avoid them if necessary.
All right, so you continue forward. So let me ask this question. Baxter, you're still leading. What is the order for the rest of you following along with Baxter? And Roderick will ride wherever you tell him you guys want him to. If you want him to follow behind, if you want him to ride up front with Baxter, whatever you want him to do.
I want him to ride with me.
I'll take the back. Keep an eye out on our backside.
I'll go in the middle.
And I would say my best guess would be that Marshal would try to ride closer up with Baxter, but I think that being injured, she's more riding with Sister Michal.
Yep.
All right.
I'm just like a parent watching over their kid, like, no, back.
Why don't you give me those reins so I can tie them to my saddle? All right. So.
Oh, we think we're riding today. Wow.
All right. So.
Aren't we ambitious?
Very ambitious. Extremely so. So Baxter and Roderick are leading the group. You continue up and around the corner after Sister Michal and Samuel have let you know that it sounds like there's something up ahead, just to be wary. And as you come around the corner, Baxter, with Roderick kind of right at your right shoulder, you are the first to notice, indeed, it looks like there's a pack of about 6 or 7 wolves up ahead. It's kind of hard to tell because 1 or 2 are kind of on a little raised terrain, and it looks like, well, roll me a spot hidden check, Baxter, since you're the first, and I'll roll for Roderick since he's up there with you. Spot hidden. Roderick doesn't see.
Fail.
All right, so they seem interested in something, but you can't make out what it is. But they look like they're in an active pattern of sort of hunting something, and they are taking up, like, you don't think that you could get around them, as this path is only so wide, and there's no way from here, because of the rise that you're on and the slope up above you, you can't actively get above or below on horseback. You think if you dismounted, you could go up or down a little ways safely, but the horses can't really maneuver along the terrain around you.
I guess we have to leave them here. Is there any way, like, someone has to stay back, so it has to be Marshal.
All right, so Baxter, you tell the party that the wolves are actively up on the path.
Yeah, there's a wolf up there keeping track of something. I'm not sure quite what, but I say we go on foot and rest our way. Either driving away or try to drive them away and then return them back to pick up the horses and Marshall.
Marshall looks like she wants to argue about staying with the horses, but one look probably from the sister, and she unholsters her pistol, but doesn't look like she's going to argue with the sister. More so like protection than argumentative.
Wonderful.
Roderick looks around and says, so what's the plan then? Do we want to try to pick them off at a distance and scare them off, or do we want to get closer and see if we could see what they've got their noses into, what they're hunting?
It's better to get closer. Not only we can see what they are after, we can get a better shot.
All right. He dismounts and he kind of hands off the reins to his horse, kind of to Marshall. Marshall kind of corrals the horses back a little ways. He says, I'm ready to go up. So who else is... I see you're staying, nods at Marshall. Baxter, you're coming up. And he looks between Samuel and Sister Michal.
Yeah, they're coming with. It's... Unless Sister wants to stay to keep Marshall company, but I think like 3 is enough. Yeah, I'm leaving up to that. You sister, if you want to go with. Because I don't remember if you had a gun.
I do. I hold up my 44 Winchester.
Does she have a rifle?
Everyone was given a rifle. So, Sister, you would have one. Everyone... Marshal Otis purchased rifles for everyone in the original posse. Not the new group that came in, but the original posse was all outfitted with a... Let's see.
It was...
Oh, a 44 Winchester is a rifle.
Yeah, okay. So...
Guns.
Guns. I don't know guns. I try. I don't know guns.
Yeah. So then in that case, I would not say that. I would just say that the rest of us will go up.
All right, then. So we're going to try to be quiet now. Are we going to, once we get up closer, Baxter, what's your plan? Are we going to shoot at them? Or or are we just trying to see first what's the situation is?
The main goal is to drive them away, but as far as I remember, 4th meat is not that great. But if you can see what it is that they are prowling, that's a bonus. So you said there was like 2 ways, right?
So you could climb up the rise a little ways and try to go across over above them, or you could try to go down the slope slightly and come in from below the trail, and you could get to the point on the path where the wolves are. Either way.
Okay. Sister and Samuel, you will go from the underneath them. Me and Roderick will go up.
Okay.
All right. So if everyone's going to try to be sneaky, I need everyone to make me a stealth roll.
Oh, good. That wasn't just one luck.
Oof. That.
All right.
And then they were eaten by wolves.
So, the two groups split off. Baxter and Roderick moving up the slope and above on the rise, heading in that direction. Samuel and Sister Michal, you move down the slope a ways and you're making your way kind of below them. Both groups trying to be very quiet. Roderick is extremely successful in his movement along the trail. He's very practiced in this terrain and very quiet. And as you get a little closer, Baxter, you notice that you can definitely make out the sounds of Samuel and the sister sort of down below on the lower path. And the wolves also seem to take note. Actually, let me make sure. I'm going to double check to see how into their foraging they are.
Yeah, maybe they're not good at wolfing.
Oh no, they're very good at wolfing. Extremely so, in fact. They may even pick up the scent of something new in the air as their attention is drawn away from whatever it is that they are currently sort of stalking and growling at, and to the two separate parties. About 4 of the wolves sort of take notice and start to kind of move toward the lower part of the rise, heading in the direction of Sister Michal and Samuel. And 3 of the wolves start to sort of move toward the edges, kind of looking around upward at the ledge above, where Baxter and Roderick are climbing along trying to get in closer. And as they take notice of you and sort of start moving in your directions, I think that's a really good place to sort of come to a close and come back to next time, as the wolves have smelled and heard something new and interesting coming their way and are now going to investigate. So,
Appropriately ominous.
excellent. I like it. But yes, so that we will fade out as there is a new threat, it seems, to the group who are on the trail of this gentleman, Houston, who has gone missing from the camp overnight. And with that, why don't we go around and people can do some plugs and things like that. So since, Teru, you didn't get to say hello, we'll let you do some plugs here first if you have anything going on.
Yeah, right now I had got nothing. But yeah, I'm Taru. I'm pretty much an active with pretty much every social media. Gotta have that branding nowadays. And
What's wrong?
yeah, I played Baxter, and his leadership skills are coming up. Yeah. And who knows what it becomes him just growing up when he grows up.
Excellent. Now I got it right. Very good. Yeah, I like Baxter. I think Baxter's, taking some risks, making some decisions. Hopefully won't get eaten by a wolf.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. And what about Joanna? What do you have going on?
Hi, I'm Joanna. You can find me on Twitter at Thriftbirds, where I am slowly just going even more downhill psychologically.
It's tough time right now, I think. So, but things are all right. How about Ray? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I'm Ray. You can find me at the Twitter link in the chat right now. I've been streaming a lot more with the extra time we have at twitch.tv/Tankstein. Other than that, I got a couple other things I'm working on, but I can't really discuss them yet. But that's about it.
Excellent. And I'm Jeanette. You can find me here with this group every other Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're kind of getting close to the close of this, I think. We
Maybe next session if
I
we all
mean,
die.
yeah, well, that's always fair. But, a couple more sessions, I think, and we'll reach the finale of this adventure. I'm looking forward to it. And also, every other Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I run a D&D 5e Skull and Shackles campaign. And every other Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I run another Call of Cthulhu Old West game, Shadows over Stillwater, here. And otherwise, you can find me over on Scotty Hood's channel, playing some D&D on Saturdays at 3 p.m. and every other Saturday at 7 p.m. That's what I do right now, aside from staying home and working from home and all that good stuff. So, but hopefully next time we'll have Theater Nerd back, and we'll have a full group, and Marshall can swing into the rescue at the, even if it angers Sister Michal to no end when it happens. But otherwise, I hope everyone's doing well. And
You're pulling your stitches.
stop! It's gonna hurt. They're gonna smell the fresh blood. Don't do that. But I hope everyone's doing well, taking care of themselves, trying to stay safe, and thank you all for hanging in and playing. And
Thank you for running.
yeah, I'm looking forward to what happens next and what we find out. And it's good times. All right, so everyone take care, and we'll catch everyone next time. Goodbye. Have a good night.
Bye.